right, here we go. Hello, and welcome back. No, got to do that again. That sounded crazy.
Really?
Take two.
Doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right. You got to go back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Warped, the completely unnecessary Star Trek podcast, where ordinarily we provide live audio commentary tracks to Star Trek episodes. Today we are in part 2 of our live watch through of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. My name is Matt.
I'm Shawn.
I'm Jake.
Erin.
I'm Minh.
Not me.
Yeah.
And if you have not listened to part 1, I can't imagine how that possibly would happen, that you would only listen to part 2.
Why wouldn't
But-
you? It's a romp.
I go back and listen to part 1. You will miss crucial context if you don't listen to part 1 first. That's called a reverse teaser.
That's right.
Shawn, where are we in the movie?
So we are at 54 minutes and 30 seconds. And
Kirk
right
and
on the
Spock
screen,
and McCoy.
it says, I do not expect you to forgive me.
It actually says, I do know expect
I
you
do
to
not
forgive
expect you
me.
to forgive me.
Which is not what he says, just to be clear. It's not Leonard Nimoy saying that. The
Did the
closed
special
captioner
effects
did
people
a
do the
bad
closed captioning
job.
too?
They
Yeah,
did.
it was that same company that did
damn
the
it.
special effects.
Wow, they really took a lot of responsibilities on.
Yeah.
Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are in the brig. Cybok has taken over the ship. Spock is about to reveal to Kirk and McCoy
Why he didn't shoot him.
his backstory and his connection to Cybok. So go ahead and punch the triangle.
I'm
Shawn.
punching the triangle in 3, 2, 1, punch.
5340.
And we're back.
I think there's
Kirk
a
is
Pokemon named
pissed.
Cybok.
Kirk is pissed off.
Wow.
McCoy has just offered to hold Spock while Kirk beats him.
McCoy
punches
looks really slim, like really thin.
He's always been the
Oh, yeah?
skinny.
Yeah, he was the only one that really didn't gain. Well, Sulu too, but the rest of them got thicker as they got older.
Okay. Well, Sulu was doing all that fucking.
This is another good scene because it's the three of them. All of the scenes that are about the three of them in this movie are good. It's sort of everything else that surrounds it that doesn't work quite as well. But they nailed the relationship
Yeah.
with the three of them together. I love that you push a button and a little chair comes out if you're in space jail.
It's a
Mhm.
toilet.
Yeah, that's could be. It's where you got to think.
It's next to the sink. It's got to be a toilet.
That's
Spock,
just another.
turns out, has a lot of siblings that we didn't know about beforehand. So Spock is telling the guys, Erin, that Spock's father, whose name was Sarek, you'll recall, I'm sure, was married before he married Spock's mother. And they had a child, and that child is Cybok. So Cybok and Spock are half brothers. When we get to Star Trek Discovery in 30 years or so, you'll learn that Spock also had a sister that we never were told about.
Yes.
Hmm. Did you see how Bones stood up for Spock back there in that scene?
Yep.
Yeah, they love each other. They just like taking the piss out of each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like us
Goes
guys.
both ways.
I mean, they
goes
do it.
both
I
ways.
mean, he could do it without being so racist about it. You know, there are other ways
I
to
mean,
tease
maybe,
your
but
people you love.
probably
but-
not.
So Cybok has this thing, we talked about it briefly last week,
Right, wow.
where he mind melds with people and they become sort of converts to
Yeah.
his belief system. Now they're trying to break out of space jail, and Spock's telling him, I wouldn't touch that if I were you. I love that you're supposed to believe that William Shatner is standing on Leonard Nimoy's like
That
whose feet are
angle
those?
is Amazing.
Are those just empty boots that Leonard Nimoy is holding
They're like
on?
Velcro to his shoulders.
Probably.
Look Velcro ready. I mean, look at him.
That's true.
Uh,
Well, these are the secrets they don't tell you.
yeah, these are the behind the scenes moments you don't learn about. Unless, like me, you've read William
Yeah.
Shatner's book about
Oh,
the
yes.
making of
There you
this
go.
movie.
Go
We
on.
teased this in the last week. So about a year, I guess it was maybe a year, maybe two after this movie came out, this book that he wrote was published. And it is very Shatner in that he takes no responsibility at all for anything that is not good in this movie.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
at least part of the book is blaming everyone else for all the things that don't work in this movie.
Sounds like my memoir, if I write one.
Oh, look at those bell bottoms. What a
But
great
having
silhouette.
said that, I mean, he does. It is an interesting book if you can sort of get past Shatner's "none of this was my fault" kind of attitude. It is interesting in just a sort of behind the scenesy way about all of the various things that sort of didn't go right on this movie. We talked already about the special effects situation. When we get to the end of this, we'll talk about what his planned ending for this movie was and what we ultimately ended up getting on screen. We talked a little bit last week about the fact that this was Shatner's baby. He came up with the story. And he said that he based the character of Sybok on televangelists like Tammy Faye and not Tammy Faye, but the other Jim Baker and Oral Roberts and people like that who were very big on TV in the 80s.
Yeah.
And he sort of based the idea of Sybok as this sort of like charismatic preacher type character. Because what you're about to learn, Aaron, what he's about to say is that his goal, the reason he's stolen the ship in the first place, is to find God. This movie is about the quest to find God.
I thought it
takes an hour before they tell you that. That's what the movie is about. But that is what the movie is.
That's what's happening.
The place is called Shikari, but I originally read that as Shakira. So I thought that's where they were going to find God.
Pronounce it in the movie is Shakari because it's supposed to sound like Sean Connery, which is who they wanted for this part. We talked about the last episode a little bit.
Yeah, like if you're a baby and you learned that.
And Sean Connery, I think, wisely turned them down, or probably wanted too much money. I mean,
probably.
If you're Sean Connery, and
they should do that every time they want an actor to be in a film. They're just like, and they go to Jen Lo P.
Yes. It would be much more interesting planet names. Although Nimbus 3, that's all right. Right? Yeah.
So they're hearing somebody on the other side of the wall doing Morse code. Somebody is banging on the wall. And it's Scotty come to rescue the day. Come to break him out.
Who hasn't been brainwashed.
He has not yet been brainwashed.
But they get caught immediately.
Yeah. They've been gone like 30 seconds. And
the guy's powers remind me of, I don't know if you guys read Foundation by Isaac Asimov, but the villain in that set of novels is he's able to manipulate people's emotions, and he can sort of turn them like dials, and it's like his form of brainwashing. So he just takes over people like that.
That's actually DeForest Kelley does get a couple of good lines in this movie when Shatner when they're talking about climbing up the
Okay. That's a good moment.
We need to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's some good slapstick comedy.
Yeah, totally right. Old school.
He hit that bar pure and fell backwards. Yeah. Awesome.
It is funny. It is completely stupid.
Yes. Oh yeah.
The big joke is the big joke.
But it's hysterical.
The big joke, which I don't even think I'm not even sure the subtitles caught. I didn't see it. Is that he says, "I know this ship like the back of my hand."
Right. No, he said it. Yeah, it said it.
Nice.
I didn't see it on my screen, so I didn't know if it showed it.
Oh, it's the stop motion.
It's lagging.
It's all right. It's pretty good for me. We have different moments.
So Scotty has told them the only way to get up to the bridge is to climb from the engine, which is at the very bottom of the ship, right? Up to the top of the ship.
Oh, well, look at that little cut. Kirk's a climber, you know?
They're just showing
Yeah,
the
right.
same footage over and over.
I love it. They just
I think this also might be filmed 90 degrees to the left.
Yeah,
Like, I
probably.
think Shatner is
Well,
lying
yeah,
on
they're about to do
he's
the
just
same
doing
thing.
a worm
Yes.
crawl
Yeah,
on
because
the
here
He's
comes
ground.
coming in
Spock.
with his hover boots again.
It's the same gag. It's the same gag from the last time.
They're like, "You're gonna hug me and stay on."
This is a very no homo like moment where they're just like, I'm hugging you, but I don't like it.
Yes, it is. Bones is like, "I'll climb. You guys can meet me up there." I'm not hugging this guy.
He does. He does. Come on.
This is
Man.
ridiculous. This
Man.
is seriously.
Too heavy.
They make a joke about marshmallows. I mean, it's ridiculous. And he's
they
like,
get caught?
hit the boosters. No, he's got boosters, and he's like, hit the boosters.
But
So off they
they're
go.
going
Whoosh!
super fast.
Whoosh.
This is also
That's
ridiculous.
what I'm saying. This show, some of this movie's hilarious.
Also, the numbers make no sense because they're like it goes deck 52, then it's like deck 64, then it's like deck 71, and it's like, what direction are you going? These numbers don't make sense. You're supposed to be going up.
Well, they made it. Whew,
They made it.
Thank God.
Back to the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Back to the dimly lit steering wheel.
Yeah. The whiskey.
Who knew this room was so important? They've got
I like the way
never
this,
seen it before.
this scene
Yeah,
looks,
yeah.
though. I
It's
think it
cool.
looks good.
It's very dramatic. I agree.
He liked the low light.
When you're 59 years old, you're gonna like the low light too, man.
Sure, I wasn't.
I like it
blaming-
now.
I wasn't attacking him for anything. I'm just saying.
But this light actually accentuates their cragged features, you know, but it looks super cool. They are, you know, they got character.
They're wizened, you know.
Yeah, like wizards.
Kirk
Wait,
Oh,
keeps
no.
saying-
Remember, these guys
Zero.
show up again.
remember the
Zero.
Klingons?
This is how they keep it tight. They just get a facelift. They just kind of like pinch it where those
They
creatures
add
are
another
and
ridge.
kinda
What you
tighten
don't see is them doing mounds of cocaine in the back.
Now, in case you forgot, there are Klingons in this movie. We haven't
Yes.
seen them in about 35 minutes, but
And
there they
we're not
were.
going to see him again for a really long time after that little blip there.
So what happened, Aaron, was that Kirk thought he was sending an emergency call to Starfleet, but it was actually intercepted by the Klingons.
Uh-oh.
Now the
spaghetti.
Klingons know where they're going and what's going on because Kirk just accidentally told them.
I used to do that in the 80s where I would just like change the channel on the radio to the cordless phone and listen to stuff. So I get it. I get what they're up to.
Did you hear anything salacious?
Oh man, I used to
Oh,
tune
wow.
into my sister's calls. It was the best.
Did you ever think you were were you ever where you had two calls, one on call waiting, and you thought you were clicking over and you started talking shit about the person you were just talking to,
Classic.
but it turned out you hadn't clicked over and you were
I
still
still
talking
do
to person
that.
number one?
Why? Yikes. It's been a long time since those days, fortunately.
Yeah, I can't remember call waiting
I
anymore.
don't remember an accident like that. No.
Well,
Oh,
Shawn,
here we go. Here we go.
I-
Here's this
Starfleet.
weird.
Uhura
Here's
and
this
Scotty.
weird. We talked about this last week. Here comes this weird, like,
All right.
sexy times moment between Uhura and Scotty.
Okay.
I'm
it's
not loving
Uncomfortable.
her lipstick. It could be a different. I don't know if it goes well with her complexion.
She has those space eyes, though. They're heavy on the eyeshadow in the future.
Yeah.
I love Scotty is doing such a good job right now.
He's
Scotty's
pretty
scared
funny.
of
I-
women.
Yeah.
Is this
This-
his last
this-
scene in the movie?
It might be. This scene is insane, but he's funny in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Basically, she propositions him, and he's like, "You've been brainwashed, so you are not capable of giving consent right now.
Oh,
So
Wow, that's
Wow.
good on him.
I'm not gonna
Surprisingly
do anything with you." Which for Scotty counts as, a pretty woke attitude, considering his previous relationships with women.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've been there in the TV show.
Remember that time he murdered a hooker?
Yep.
Yeah, I do.
And Piglet had to save the day.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's an infamous episode.
Yep.
The reaction to the reveal that he was the voice of Piglet was strong. Very strong.
I remember that actor's
So
face.
pissed.
Mm.
So what Cybok does is he mind melds with people and he shows them painful memories of their past. It's a little bit Scientology-ish.
A little bit.
It's all about kind of being blocked. And Cybok's like, if you confront what's blocking
Your
you,
pain.
Childhood
You can unblock
memories
it.
stuff were kind of at their peak at this time.
yeah. So it's
Well,
so he's kind of telling him, if you confront your pain, you will be healed, and then you will become a follower of mine.
I actually really like the lighting here as well. This movie, I feel like this movie gets panned.
This whole section where they're doing the flashbacks all is very, very good. Everything
Yeah,
that
it's all
happens
well
in this,
done.
Yeah.
in this room,
Look at the
is good.
gravitas.
it's like I've been saying all along. Anything that has to do with the three of them is good and interesting. It's just
Wow.
that everything else surrounding them is not interesting.
So what if
And-
they had just decided to do that and didn't worry about having special effects, where it's just like they tell it another way?
Yeah.
They don't ships flying through the sky. You think Star Trek that wouldn't fly?
I mean, not in what's meant to be a summer blockbuster.
Yeah, I mean that's like what the show basically was, but I don't know that
Yeah.
flies in a movie.
Yeah.
I actually think that with time, the shitty special effects will be an appeal. They'll be like, "Oh, look how crappy that
Campy.
is."
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, if
Campy.
you think about Star Trek 4, the movie that just preceded this one, it has almost no special effects in it because
Right.
90% of it takes place on Earth in the
Mhm.
1980s.
Mhm.
So that's a movie that works perfectly with very limited special effects. So
And
it
I
can
look,
be done.
and the budget for this is only like $2 million more than
Yeah.
the budget for that one.
And this is an effects heavy movie. This is
Yeah.
a movie that has a lot of action adventure type stuff in it.
Mhm.
Because that's like what you were saying, Shawn, that this movie, Nimoy was quoted, I think you said, as saying that like this is the kind of movie it is because Shatner is the kind of person he is, and he
Yeah.
likes the running, jumping, shooting stuff parts of Star Trek. So that's why this movie has a lot of that in it.
Yep.
Man,
But it
this
also has
scene-
amazing scenes like this. So
This scene is
it's
killing it.
Shatner's it's not like Shatner's some like Philistine. Like
Mm.
this movie is tackling some like themes, right?
Yeah.
It's
I
about
mean,
God.
Why couldn't they get to this earlier?
And you
Yeah,
know,
I mean the main premise is the nature of God.
Mm.
which
Man.
apparently the executives at Paramount did not like as an idea. But they didn't really, like I said, he had that contract clause, and so he was able to get to make 80% of the movie he wanted to make. The 20% that didn't quite work out, but most of this is the movie that he wanted to make, and this stuff is all terrific.
Yes.
DeForest Kelley is great in this scene.
Amazing.
Some of his best acting ever is in this scene.
Wow. And the father, that actor was really, really great too. Just super subtle and wow. I'm surprised this scene isn't more well known or discussed about, or like I don't know. That was really
the
powerful.
reaction to this movie was not good. It didn't get very good reviews. It didn't do well financially, which we'll talk about when we play the box office game. But
When do we play that?
What?
When do we play that?
At the end.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Okay. When I stop running out of things to say, that's when we'll.
Yeah.
I just think I might win it, so I'm ready to
She's
go.
excited. She's excited.
I got it.
That's crazy. That scene was just like a cult leader, someone that it shows like how he could win converts.
Yeah. I mean, he's using mind powers, so it's not like it's not much of a free will kind of a thing. So anyway, the whole thing with Shatner and the God stuff and the themes of like what makes a family that's all the stuff I think that is good in this movie.
Oh, is that the same woman?
No.
No.
The makeup fools.
So you're seeing Spock's birth.
Okay.
Right.
He was born in a cave.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know why this scene is happening in a cave. Like, I'm pretty
'Cause
sure they have
they're
hospitals.
Vulcan.
I bet they have hospitals on Vulcan. They're all into
It
science.
was a controversy. It's like a water birth here. It's
Yeah.
a controversial cave birth on
Mhm.
Vulcan.
I think at those little pointy ears on that baby.
Yep.
That baby got little pointy
Yeah.
ears on his
Yep.
ears.
Aw, that's cute. He's like, don't get on my smock.
Sarek says, so
Little
human.
pointy ears and strawberry jam. I
Yeah.
read somewhere that they use strawberry jam for like
As the
placental
goo.
stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Surprised the babies aren't licking it off. Young Sarek is fucking smoking. Jeez, that jawline is ridiculous.
He's like Vanessa Williams.
What?
Vanessa Williams?
That was the mom or whoever was birthing the baby. I guess it's not the mom. It was the lady, the
Okay.
nurse.
The midwife.
The midwife.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you now. So now Cybok's saying, now it's your turn, Kirk. And
Oh.
Kirk's like, fuck this noise. I like being blocked.
Yeah.
I need my pain, he said.
I'm happy. Hold on.
Yeah. Just stuff
You
it
start
down.
singing My Way at some point in time.
Do you remember when William Shatner put out an album of songs that were sort of written and produced by Ben Folds?
Oh yeah.
It's actually a
I've
really
never
good
heard
album.
it, but I've heard of it. Never heard
It's
it.
actually pretty good.
Hey, if you know how to use them,
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's
Man of
like
many talents.
Ben Folds knew how to structure a song so that William Shatner could warble his way through it, and
yeah.
it's actually a pretty good album.
Oh, this is Spock's moment right here.
Yeah,
Spock.
Spock saying, "I'm sticking with
You don't
my
know me,
right."
and
Yeah.
I'm not that bothered by that shit anymore.
You
Yeah,
don't know me.
Spock's like, I got over this years ago. He's
Yeah.
like, 50 years of listening to McCoy call me a green-blooded hobgoblin.
He's
has
like, I
cured
was born in
all
a
of my
cave.
issues
Come on.
about being a Vulcan.
Well, hey, they're sticking together. That's pretty awesome.
Cybok claims that he's been sent a vision by God.
They all.
That's how he knows that God is at the center of the galaxy. The center of the galaxy, for some reason, in this movie, is supposed to have like an impenetrable barrier around it that nobody's ever been able to get through.
The walled garden.
Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be the
Oh
garden.
my god.
Again, some shabby effects.
I always think I'm in the cartoon when they shift to that.
It wants to show you things. Well, this ship is this new ship. I do like these sweeping views. The ship feels big, like it's like a grand vista.
Okay.
Is it the next generation ship or a different set?
The bridge is not.
Yeah,
They
the
used a lot
corridors.
of
they
the
reused.
corridors. They used the next generation set, but I think the bridge they built. And he makes a joke at the beginning how he likes his old chair better.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah, one of his many complaints about the ship not working right is that he doesn't like the chair.
Yeah, he should have thought of that before he blew the other one up.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It was what needed to happen to
I mean,
save
it was extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
Were involved. Cybok has told them this barrier that you guys keep talking about, it's garbage. Just fly on through and it'll be fine. And sure enough, they do. They just
And
fly
they
on
see a
through.
energized cloud? That's it?
It's a planet.
Actually, a planet.
It's an energized planet.
Yes. They flew through an energized cloud to get to the planet.
So now they're like, well, we're explorers. And here we are in this place that nobody's ever been before. So even though we don't agree with Cybok and his crazy mission,
You gotta go look at this thing.
We should probably beam down there and just see what the hell is down there.
We're here already.
We're already here.
Might as well
go down. We drove all this way. We're not even gonna get. We're not even gonna get out of the car. We're just gonna turn around and go home.
Like seeing the Grand Canyon for the first time.
But they ran out of money, and so they had to just go back. Is this the 20-minute early ending?
No, they actually do go down. They get to go down the planet.
Oh, it's everyone's different.
Yes, it's Valhalla.
All the different species have their own like word for and concept of what heaven is like. So
where God hangs out.
Where God.
Yeah. I think more than a great number of you would say the Bugles factory.
I mean, he looks like he has bugles on his shirt, doesn't he? Look at what Cybok is wearing. And tell me those aren't bugles.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like the old Starfleet like rank insignias where it's just like
the felt ones.
Just little scraps of fabric that they found. And we're like, this'll do.
It's like he's playing Trivial Pursuit.
He's got 2 full wedges in there.
It's that orange pie is always the hardest one to get.
You definitely don't want me on your Trivial Pursuit team. I was a little sad at the beginning of this episode because it made me think of back to the day when we would be together. This sort of like watching a movie, we would take shots, we would be having a great time, everyone would be messed up. The
last movie when we watched Star Trek 4 infamously was White Russian Night, and we were sucking down those White Russians you were making. They were delicious. I wish I had a White Russian right now.
Yeah, right. All right.
And a Vietnamese man to make them for me, hand them to me without me having to get up.
Not you.
That sounds like heaven.
It doesn't have to be you. I'm just saying.
You can be replaced.
Yeah.
Don't think you're not replaceable, man.
I know my place. It's not on this planet. This planet looks desolate. Jeez.
And then for some reason,
for a planet that's supposed to be like Eden, don't you think of Eden as being a garden? A garden of Eden, like
birthplace.
This is kind of a
this looks like Palmdale.
And they park like way far away from where they need. Like they walk way farther than they need to.
It's like when you park. It's like when you park in the Target parking lot at the Glendale Galleria, and then you walk all the way over to the Americana through the mall because it's easier.
You know, sometimes when I do that, it's because I feel like I won't find parking spots closer. So I'll park further away. I'll be like, oh, this is going to save me time. But then as I walk by all these parking spots, I feel like, such a fool.
We always used to.
I like these shots. Just did one, and now he's doing it again. Of all 4 of them lined up in profile. I like
the
shot.
Beatles.
Yeah, totally.
This movie has a couple of like directorial flourishes in it where you're like, oh, okay. Shatner kind of has a sense of
got an eye. Look how far away they are. Like, why did they park so far?
Size into their daily routine.
Yeah, they need to get their steps in, Shawn.
Get those steps.
That's funny. I love Shatner's look in that scene. He's so funny. Cybok's like, it looks exactly the way I imagined it would be. Shatner looks at him like, really? Because it kind of looks like shit to me.
You know what it looks like? It looks like
God
looks like
somewhere nicer than this.
It looks like the exact planet they just left.
It looks like where Kirk fought the Gorn, which I think it probably is.
Oh.
Pretty sure this is the flatlands
Gordon's gonna
outside
jump out
of
at them
outside Los
as they're
Angeles.
walking in
That's
the
what I'm
car.
saying. It looks like Lancaster, Palmdale.
Pretty sure that's what it is.
That was the area.
Scotty's trying to fix the transporter.
I've had a good time watching this movie. I've been surprised by this movie.
It's a good movie.
Mm.
If you can get past its, and you know,
Immense
I'm admitting
flaws.
that if you can get past its pretty significant flaws, it's a pretty. You can have a decent time watching this movie.
It's entertaining.
So let's talk about 1989 when this movie came out. Because I was 15 years old. I saw this movie in theaters and I was fucking hyped for it because Star Trek 4 had been a big hit. There were a ton of commercials. Paramount, Paramount expected this movie to be a huge hit because the last one had been. I can even remember the TV commercial ended with that shot of Scotty bonking himself on the head. Like that was the tag for the commercial for this movie. It was like Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, June 9th. And then it's Scotty going, conk.
Nice.
I think
1989 was a big year for the movies. The summer of 1989 was huge. Shall we play the box office game?
You're ready.
Close to the end of this movie, sort of.
Yeah.
So I guess let's watch what happens, and then I'll tell you, Erin, and what was meant, what Shatner's intentions were, as opposed to what we actually got. Summer of 1989. I was 15. Shawn, were you into the movies?
I was not. I had seen 4 actually at a drive-in, but when it was in the theaters, and really liked it. Thought it was really good.
Because you had never seen this movie until yesterday.
Yes, I just watched it a few days ago for the first time. But yeah, when this came out, I was still not, a big Star Trek fan. So I did not see it in the theater.
But you must know.
I remember when it came out.
You're going to do very well.
Oh, I would. Yeah. It was
the box office of 1980.
This was the summer before I went to high school.
Yeah. What else is there to do?
I watched a lot of movies in India. There wasn't a whole lot else one could do except watch movies on the weekend. So
exactly right. So this movie came out on June 9th, 1989. It had a very good opening weekend. It was number one. It opened at $24 million, which was at the time the biggest opening for any Star Trek movie. So everyone, a lot of hype. Everyone had a very happy first weekend, and then I think everybody who wanted to see it saw it that first weekend. I definitely did. And it basically falls off a cliff after the first weekend for reasons that we are about to talk about. So, number 1 is Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Number 2 is the third movie in a incredibly successful action. Yep, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade had come out the week before, so this was not week 2 for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which would go on
Memorial Day weekend,
which would go on to be gigantic.
Yeah. I think Shawn can just carry us for this one.
Shawn may be able to do all of these. It wouldn't surprise me. Number 3 is a comedy, sort of a comedic drama, more of a drama, but with some comedy parts, starring a huge comedy star making his sort of first attempt at serious movie star acting.
Truman Show.
No,
but you're 15 years too late, but you're right, idea. No, Big is a few years earlier.
Is it?
More serious.
Philadelphia.
No.
It's not Tom Hanks.
Not Tom Hanks.
Think somebody who's really famous for being a comedian and is
LA Story?
No.
Is it with Eddie Murphy?
It is
When Harry Met Sally?
No. Good boy, you guys are really you're throwing darts and you're hitting everything but the center.
Is it Eddie Murphy?
It's not Eddie Murphy.
It's not Eddie Murphy.
It's not Eddie Murphy.
So we haven't named the comedian either.
You have not named the star of this movie.
Bill Murray?
No. This guy, he got an Oscar nomination, I think, for this movie. His first. He didn't win, but he would win several years later, about 10 years later. He would win an Oscar.
Something with
It's every teacher's favorite movie.
Oh, Dead Poet Society.
It's Dead Poet Society.
You gave the one clue, the easy clue, finally.
Dead Poet Society, which
everybody saw that in high school.
Had a limited release, but went wide this weekend, so it jumped from number 14 to number 3, and on its way to being a big hit. Robin Williams gets
really don't like that movie.
Nomination. What'd you say?
I really don't like that movie.
You don't?
What? Why?
I don't like the suicide. I think it's the kid committing suicide because he's not allowed to be in the play. Like, get over yourself.
I mean, I think there was deeper shit going on.
Yeah, it's more to there's.
I
more
understand, but still, like it's still. I think teenage suicide anytime is presented in movies and film.
Yeah, it's a little
is a bad idea.
I will say that I have not seen it in a long time.
It's been about as long as when it came out.
Yeah, I
remember like loving it as a kid. And
yeah, I like when they stand on their desks.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
So that was number 3. Number 4.
Carpe diem.
Number 4 is a comedy starring a comedy duo who
Blues Brothers.
Is their what?
Blues Brothers?
No.
Damn.
This is their 3rd movie together. They'll make one more after this one. They are not connected movies. It's just these 2 people are in all of these movies.
Abbott and Costello.
It would be Steve Martin and John Candy.
No.
Okay.
No. That's not a bad guess, but that's not them. It's not
Los
them.
Amigos? Los Amigos? Tres Amigos?
One of them is white and one of them is black.
Oh, is it Wilder and Pryor?
It is. It's Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor.
Hear No Evil?
It is called See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Kevin Spacey
Can anybody other than Shawn tell me what See No Evil, Hear No Evil is about?
Saw it in the theater.
Does anybody know or want to hazard a guess?
Isn't one of them blind?
One of them is blind and one of them is deaf. Deaf. Richard Pryor is blind.
And Richard Pryor is
blind. Wilder is deaf.
Yep.
And they have to solve a murder.
Hijinks.
Kevin Spacey is the bad guy in it, or one of the bad guys.
Crazy ass mustache.
Yep.
There's a scene where a guy holds up. There's a scene in the movie where Gene Wilder basically holds a woman at what she thinks is gunpoint, and it's his boner.
Yes, he mistakes his erection for a gun.
Yep. He gets away from her because of his boner.
Hijinks, for sure.
It is not a good movie.
Saw it in the theater.
Damn.
Didn't see this movie in the theater. Saw See No Evil, Hear No Evil. That's what I was watching.
Yeah.
That's legit.
That had been out for a while because I think I saw that on Mother's Day.
It's in week 3 of its release.
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh no, sorry. It's in week 5. Sorry,
yeah, that makes sense that I would have seen it in Mother's Day.
Number 5 is every dad's favorite movie.
Rudy.
No, but it's a sports movie.
Field of Dreams.
Yep. Field of Dreams. The rest of the top 10. Number 6 is something called No Holds Barred, which I had to look up because
wrestling movie, right?
Yep, Hulk Hogan as in a wrestling.
And isn't Tiny Lister in that?
I don't know. Hulk Hogan is on the poster.
He's the bad guy in that. I think that's where he got the Zeus.
I don't know, maybe. But that's the movie, which just made me think of that scene in Barton Fink where the studio exec is telling Barton that he wants to make a wrestling picture. And he's just like, and Barton's like, I don't know how to write it. And he's like, it's wrestling. It's just a movie about wrestling. What do you mean you don't know how to write it? 7 is Roadhouse. 8 is Renegade.
Roadhouse.
What was 8?
Yeah, let's
8.
pause on that for a minute.
Yeah, Patrick Swayze. Ghost was on last night and on TV, and I watched a little bit of Ghost, and boy, is that a good movie.
Yeah.
Whoopi got an Oscar for it.
Yeah,
Apparently
they did.
I thought the actors hated each other. I read.
In
No.
Ghost?
Yeah, in Ghost.
They loved each other.
Okay. Still a good movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Still won awards and shit.
8 is Renegades, which is Lou Diamond Phillips and Kiefer Sutherland. It's set on an Indian reservation. I've never seen it. I just looked it up what it was.
They were like, what if we did Young Guns without Emilio Estevez?
It's not a Western. It's modern day, they're cops.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Renegade.
Number 9 is the Pet Cemetery, the first Pet Cemetery.
Hell yeah.
Number 10,
Co-starring? Who's in
Denise
Pet Cemetery?
Crosby of Tasha Yar fame of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Thank
Is
you.
the mom. And number 10 is Jim Belushi and a dog. What's that movie called?
Canine.
Canine. Turner and Hooch, but it's the poor man's Turner and Hooch.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Jim Belushi is the poor man's Tom Hanks. So
He's the homeless man's Tom Hanks. You can go lower than poor.
I always sort of thought that Jim Belushi was kind of a joke, and then he's so great in that 3rd season of Twin Peaks that I was like, fuck, Jim Belushi's great.
He's really good
He's in Twin Peaks?
He was great in it.
He's in the most recent.
The newer one?
Yeah. The Showtime one.
Newer one.
He's spectacular in it.
Cool.
What happened the week after this movie?
Batman came out, and that was it. Game over. Game over for Star Trek.
That was it. It dropped, and then in the week after that, you get a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Ghostbusters 2.
Which Batman came out?
Yeah, I saw Ghostbusters too.
The original Michael Keaton.
Oh.
Which was the biggest movie of the year.
Of 89, yeah.
Strange.
So Star Trek 5 just got crushed.
What did it end up making, like 54 or something like that?
Yeah, 60 something. Like, I think it made
it made money because it only 27 million was the budget, and it more than doubled its budget. But.
Yeah. But certainly not the $200 million blockbuster that they were.
Well, even 100 back then. I don't even think movies made 200 million, did they?
No, I mean, the wiki says that was what they were projecting.
That's what they were projecting. Wow.
Because the first one, number 4, had made like 120 or something.
Right. Well, that was the most, but like I think they didn't quite understand that. A lot more people saw that than normal because it took place in our time and had whales in it.
Yeah.
Like I think that, obviously for Star Trek fans, Wrath of Khan is number 1. I think for other people, the one that most people have seen is 4.
Oh, 100%. I think if you ask almost anybody, that would be people who are old enough to have seen it. I mean, I think almost anybody would say that's the one they saw. Yeah. If they saw any of them at all.
Seen any of them, that was the one they'd see.
Star Trek 5 ends up at number 21 for the year
overall,
just below National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which made it to number 20.
Probably not a very long time because that would have come around Christmas, you would think.
Yeah. So that's what happened to poor Star Trek 5. So we're into the end game here. So let me tell you, Erin, what the original concept for this was. Okay. Shatner and his screenwriter that he had hired had written this elaborate action sequence that was going to involve angels and demons fighting each other, and Kirk and the gang having this huge fight scene with all of these monsters. And when the special effects fiasco sort of happened, they realized we can't do this big ending. So then they wrote an ending where there were going to be these. They wrote an ending where there were going to be these rock monsters that were going to like come out of the mountain and attack the gang. And Shatner wanted 6 rock monsters for this action scene, and Paramount said you can have 1. So they built the rock monster. And apparently it looked so terrible on camera that they were like, we can't use this. We cannot.
Is that why they in Galaxy Quest it's a rock monster? Is that a
I don't know.
maybe. This? You don't know. I don't know.
Could be. So the rock monster doesn't work. And apparently what they did, apparently it had like very visible seams in it. Like you could sort of see where it had been constructed. So to solve that problem, they put tubes in it and they had people off stage smoking cigarettes and blowing smoke into the tubes to make it smoke so that you couldn't see the seams. I would love to see this footage, by the way.
Right.
And they were just like, this looks so terrible. It's over. We cannot use this footage. So attempt number 3 is what we actually end up with, which is just a sort of fizzle of an ending where God shoots laser beams out of
one
God.
phaser shot from a Klingon ship to kill God.
Pretty easy to kill God if the Klingon ship can fit in one shot.
And it looked like that turret was like stop motion animated. I don't know whether that was just the internet or whether
it looked bad on my end too.
No, that's what it looked like.
If you remember the Klingon ship couldn't even destroy that ancient Earth like space probe in one shot. But God, yes, one shot.
Yes.
So you're saying that whatever they had before, the rock monster looked worse than what we got.
Yes. This is what they ended up sort of coming to in the end.
Scotty's found a drinking buddy.
They look like the same person.
Sort of, right?
I thought it was Scotty in makeup.
Scotty's doing Klingon cosplay right now.
Oh.
We sort of skipped over the one good line in that scene, which is when Kirk says, "What does God need with a starship?" Because the alien says, "I'm going to take over your ship."
Spoiler alert: it's not actually God.
Spoiler alert: it's an alien. It's not actually God.
That's been trapped on this planet because he must be some kind of asshole.
And Cybok,
yeah, it's never made clear how he got there or why he's been trapped there. All this time. There's probably some novel where he's a Q.
Just that he needed a starship to leave.
Yeah.
That's when Kirk is a genius and says, "Wait a minute."
Mm-hmm. That's his
Kirk's saying it's not about God. It's about what live. It's about your heart. It's about family, and looking for a physical manifestation of God is a pointless endeavor. Is what this movie is basically saying. And they came to a nice little sort of semi-peace agreement with the Klingons. The Klingons helped them out, and now they're all being nice to each other. They will not be nice the next time we see them in Star Trek VI. They'll be back to their old shenanigans.
Yes.
They go tell it Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Worse than
Bad
that.
blood.
So yeah, that was the box office game. Top 10 for the year: Batman, Indiana Jones, Lethal Weapon 2, Rain Man, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Look Who's Talking, Ghostbusters 2, Dead Poets Society, Parenthood, and Back to the Future Part 2.
Yeah.
That was 1980. Good year for movies.
Yeah, lots of good movies. I was watching Back to the Future Part 2. I think that movie gets maligned. I
think it's good.
I think it's a really good film.
It's essentially about Donald Trump.
Yes.
In some ways. When he gets to the bad future.
All right, Spock's playing Row, Row, Row Your Boat on the Vulcan lute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
taking
a
a
sweet little.
I like and I do like the little callback, the frame story where they started at the campfire in the movie Back at the Campfire.
Yep. And they sing the song and the music swells and the
another Jerry Goldsmith soundtrack.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it, but Jerry Goldsmith came back to do the music for this movie. It's a very good music.
So when you saw it in the theater the first weekend, were you happy with it?
Yes, because I was an undiscriminating 15-year-old and it was a new Star Trek movie, so I was going to like it.
I'm glad you had a good time.
You know what I mean? So I thought it was great.
There you go, folks.
Now I think it's fine.
Just fine.
I remember those days when you would go to the movies and you just liked the movie because it was a movie. You know,
we're getting back to those days.
You're just happy to be there.
Yeah, it was like
it's fine to go to the movies. I mean, there aren't a lot of entertainment options in Fresno in 1989, so going to the movies was a biggie.
Yeah, I think every one of those movies you named I saw in the theater.
You saw Batman.
Except Dead Poet Society. I did not see Dead Poet Society in the theater. I think everything else I did.
I definitely remember Batman was everywhere that summer, and Ghostbusters 2 I remember seeing in the theater. I don't remember seeing Last Crusade, but I must have. I mean, there's no way I wouldn't.
Well, that was on 70 millimeter. That was the big thing about Last Crusade. It was, you could see it in 70 millimeter if you went to the right showings.
And that's Star Trek V, everybody.
Wow. Yeah. We got through it.
So does everyone think 5.5 is an adequate?
No, it should have been higher. I think higher.
It should be higher.
Yeah, 5.6 at least.
It should at least been in the 6s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at high 6.
There are episodes that are way worse than this movie that get higher ratings.
Yeah.
I think it was just I think people were probably expecting something different than what they got. And certainly the special effects did not help.
Yeah.
Like,
and who knows if they had done the 30 minutes that they cut, maybe it would have been better.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to think about what this movie would have been if he had been able to do what he really wanted to do. Maybe it would have been better. Maybe it would have been worse. Who knows? It would have looked better if they had spent a little more money. That's
redone the effects.
Hey, this is going to be our Valentine's Day episode, you guys. So I meant to say it at the beginning. I forgot. So happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Well, we hope that this is what you're doing with your loved one.
February 12th.
Listening to our episode in bed together. Minh,
okay with your loved one.
Do some sexy talk, Minh, and get people in the mood.
I hope your loved one disks your hand, really, because that's what it'll be for me.
Man, you were asking when will we see Star Trek 6, or somebody was asking. July of 2022 is when we will watch.
When it would air, so we probably
when it would air, so
sometime in June.
It'll be somewhere around there.
So 18 months from now.
It's a long time away.
You got all of 2021 to get through first before you see another.
What is it in the middle of the 5th season of Next Generation?
I think it's I think it's in the 5th season.
Okay,
when it comes up. So
that I did see in the theater.
Yeah, me too. I
was hanging out with a real nerdy Star Trek fan at the time, and actually, Kenyon, he's one of the people who reviewed our show.
Oh, so, I thought you were going to say sleep.
No, another friend of mine, and yeah, he and another friend of ours went on a school night.
What?
Which was always a fun thing to be able to do. Because he had a car.
Good friend to have.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, shout out to Kenyon Strobeck. I know you listen.
That one's that one's a genuinely good movie. So
it was, yes. I really, not knowing much about Star Trek at the time, enjoyed the hell out of that movie.
You guys want to play a quick Only Connect?
Yes.
Up tonight?
Yes.
Your first clue is the word market.
Oof.
Almost anything, right? Almost
impossible.
Things with.
What did you say?
Piggies.
It's piggies. The second clue was home.
Brilliant.
The third clue was roast beef, and the fourth clue was none. It's the piggies on your toesies.
Shawn gets the big money.
That is good. That was a hell of a guess, Shawn.
I'm gonna live on that one for a while.
Yeah.
All I could think about was Boston Market.
Wow.
That's the word of a man who has done that poem a lot of times. You've got children, you say it a lot.
One went to get roast beef.
I remember one time I when my younger brother was like, I don't know, 2 or something like that, And he was really, you would do the piggies. And one time I made him do mine just over and over and over again. He was so annoyed that I kept asking him to do it again. He's like, again? I'm like, yeah, you got to do it again.
But it paid off.
It's funny.
Yeah. For this moment.
Wow. I guess we're done, yeah?
Yeah.
Have any recommendations they want to do? Play the jingle, Jake.
Recommendations.
And May says the prom.
From the man who brought you all the seasons of Glee comes the prom.
I'm not sure from the man who brought you all the seasons of Glee is
the compelling argument you think it is.
Yeah.
Well, is it Ryan Murphy? Is he who did it?
Yeah. And so Shawn, you might like this. One of the writers from Slings and Arrows, which we used to watch all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slings and Arrows? Yeah.
He was one of the writers of Prom, the musical, which was a Broadway show, and now this is the movie version of Prom, the musical.
What's Slings and Arrows?
We didn't watch that together? Slings and Arrows is a Canadian drama, like goes over the 4 seasons, like about
it's about
a theater company that does Shakespeare.
A Shakespeare theater in Canada, and it's like 3 seasons, and they do Hamlet, Macbeth, and King Lear, and it's basically like this guy coming to grips with the fact that like him and his mentor had like a horrible relationship the whole time they were together, but then he died, and then they have closure. One of the creators of that show, who helped create Prom the musical. He also wrote and starred in Drowsy Chaperone. Drowsy Chaperone, anyone? Sutton Foster? No? Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah. So Bob Martin.
Yeah. No, I knew everything you just said. I was just letting you tell Shawn.
Yeah. So I thought it was good. That was fun. A little long, but I'll take anything with Meryl Streep being awesome and
Slings and Arrows has a very early performance by Rachel McAdams in it.
Yeah. And the guy who plays Lenny Bruce on Mrs. Marvelous, Marvelous Maisel.
Oh, yeah.
He's in it too, yeah. Yeah, so that's my recommendation.
I haven't watched it yet, but I intend to, because I like musicals, and
actually,
like Meryl Streep.
If you haven't seen Slings and Arrows, watch all of Slings and Arrows.
Oh yeah, that is an excellent recommendation. I agree with you. I watched a different Meryl Streep movie last night. There's a new movie on HBO Max that Steven Soderbergh directed. It's called Let Them All Talk. It's Meryl Streep and Candice Bergen and Diane Wiest playing 3 old lady friends who go on a cruise. And because
more
it's
like
Steven
frenemies.
Soderbergh, yeah, they are sort of frenemies. And because it's Steven Soderbergh, he likes to do kind of stunts kind of movies. So they actually filmed the entire movie in 7 days while they were actually on a cruise.
On an actual cruise.
Yeah, from New York to England. So they all went on this cruise together and made a movie while they were on the cruise.
Surreptitiously, or did the crews know they were filming it?
No. It was not.
It was a production.
They knew Meryl Streep was there, Yeah. You might not recognize Steven Soderbergh, but you'd probably go, I think that's Meryl Streep. It was a really
on a cruise,
I would recommend people check it out. It was a lot of fun.
What was it called?
Let Them All Talk. It's on HBO Max.
Sounds good.
That's all I got. Anybody else got anything?
Wrap it up.
Thank you all very much for listening. Please go to iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts to rate, review, and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at Warped Trek. You can follow me at Host Warped. Follow Minh to learn about our Dungeons and Dragons and Call of Cthulhu podcasts and live streams at Wet Maynard. We are on Instagram at Warped the Podcast, and you can get our merch on Instagram at lunar_flare. And you can email us at, what's the email? warpedthepodcast at Yahoo?
Gmail.
Warpedthepodcast@gmail.com. And you can go to Patreon to become a subscriber and get access to additional material and bonus episodes. We're back to Star Trek The Next Generation next week, you guys. Yep. Back to the grind.
Cool.
We've got 4 episodes left
Almost
of season
done
2.
with season 2. Then we'll have to pick. We'll have to decide what our next movie watch is.
Back to the dilithium mine.
Until next week. My name is Matt.
I'm Shawn.
I'm Jake.
Erin.
Minh.
I'm Minh.
Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.